breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty. Mornings on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, honored to have Senator John Kennedy joining us this morning. Senator, good morning, sir.
Morning, Mike. Morning, Aaron.
Thank you for talking with us. I was just looking over these inflation figures. Senator, what we need is price control.
Not for me. We've got price controls. It's called the free market.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But she's pushing this price control, talking about Kamala in her campaign. Senator, people are going to buy into this, thinking this is a good idea.
Well, I don't think most Americans will. Some will. Here's why we have inflation. If you think back a few years ago, the economy after COVID was starting to recover as government at all levels realized that it had made a mistake in shutting our society down. So we started opening up, and the economy was really growing rapidly. President Biden became president, and he and the vice president, Ms. Harris, said, geez, we want to spend money on all this stuff, and we can use COVID as an excuse. So over the next couple of years, they passed $4 trillion of new spending for social programs primarily. And they said we need to do it for COVID. Well, you didn't have to be Mensa material to figure out that wasn't true. And a number of us and some Democratic economists, Jason Furman, Lawrence Summers, said, look, Mr. President, Madam Vice President, if you do this, you're going to have inflation. Well, we had inflation, raging inflation. And they said, oh, it's only temporary. Well, it wasn't temporary. And so Jay Powell had to raise interest rates to cool the economy. Now, the rate of inflation is down. What does that mean? That just means that prices are still rising, but they aren't going up as quickly as they were. But prices are not coming down. Both the chairman of the Federal Reserve and the Secretary of Treasury have answered my questions in the banking committee that these high prices are permanent. Thank you very much, Ms. Harris and Mr. Biden. And they don't want to talk about that. So they want to talk about price controls and blame it on price gouging, which just is a lie.
These prices are permanent? Do you really believe that? There's nothing we can do to help?
Sure, we can get them down, but in order for prices to fall, we have to go through what China is going through right now. We have to have a recession. The only way to achieve what's called deflation, which is prices actually falling, is to go through a serious recession where your unemployment rate goes up and people are laid off and the economy is slow, and in order to stimulate demand, businesses lower prices.
How close are we to that?
So the question becomes, is the pain, is the pain worth it? And no president is going to ever intentionally put the economy into a recession. So that's why I say these prices, unfortunately, I wish I could say otherwise, but they're permanent. Do you think the automobile industry is going to step up and say at some point, geez, we're going to go back to pricing like it was before Biden and Harris started spending all this money?
The average price,
their costs have gone up.
Yeah, the average price of an automobile, 3 years ago was $35,000. It's over $50,000 now.
Yeah, and used cars are the same way, and that's why I've said when I'm asked to describe Bidenomics or Harrisnomics, I say it's very simple. You get to pay more to live worse. And it is the biggest issue in this campaign. And it will ultimately determine this campaign.
I struggle with something, Senator Kennedy.
If I could just say,
go ahead.
If I just say, Ms. Harris's plan is price controls, which is just going to cause shortages and actually cause prices to rise even more. And she wants to raise the corporate income tax, which is going to make wages go down. I'm sorry, Aaron, go ahead.
I struggle with something that I want you to try to explain to me. The folks that vote like sheep, that are going to vote for a Democrat because the D is behind their name, and that's what they do. I suspect that many of them are being hurt the worst by inflation. And so I want someone to explain to me why they keep voting like sheep.
Well, because they have a constituency that is primarily Democratic. And frankly, many people don't understand basic economics of supply and demand. When Biden and Harris started doing all this spending in a recovering economy, Larry Summers, a very prominent Democratic economist, Jason Furman, another one, he's at Harvard. I don't hold that against him. They both worked for President Obama, and they both said publicly, they wrote articles in the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal, said, Mr. President, Ms. Vice President, don't do this. You're going to cause inflation. And they did it anyway. And now they don't want to admit that. So they don't want to talk about it, or they're trying to say it's all businesses' fault. It's businesses just arbitrarily raising prices because they can. This is not Cuba. This is not Venezuela. I mean, it's just a cascade of lies.
You mentioned Harris wants to raise the corporate income tax, make them pay their fair share. Well, Senator, you know as well as I do, corporations don't pay tax.
A corporation is just a sheet of paper. What is a corporation? It's people. It's workers. It's investors. All three of us are probably corporations in the sense that 50% of Americans, through their pension plans or their own accounts, invest in companies through the stock market. That's all a corporation is. And when you implement price controls or you raise corporate income taxes, there's no free lunch, and you don't get one now. Those additional costs are passed on.
Exactly.
So who pays them? Yeah, the workers pay them. The workers don't get a pay raise anymore. Or the investors, those people who actually own shares in the company, get a smaller dividend, and some of them sell their stock.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
We lowered the corporate income tax in 2017. Our corporate income tax was over 30%. It was the highest of all developed countries in the world. We lowered it to 21%, and the economy boomed. But now Harris wants to raise it again.
Let me ask you, what's going to happen to our 401ks if Kamala Harris is elected president? What do you, in your magic 8 ball, what do you see happening to those folks that are closing in on retirement?
Well, I think the markets and the companies that make up the markets, American business, will have a very negative reaction. Maybe not the first month, but here's what Kamala Harris wants to do. I know the vice president well. I served in the Senate with her. I sat on the Judiciary Committee with her. She is AOC without the bartending experience. She was easily the most left-wing United States senator. No question.
Right.
She thinks that government ought to run the economy. It's just that simple. And I'm amazed that she doesn't hum the Cuban national anthem while she's saying all that. I mean, it's just a very neo-socialist approach. But she just thinks that the experts in Washington are smarter and more virtuous than the business community and consumers like us. They believe that.
You have your finger on the pulse of the world. What do other world leaders saying about Kamala Harris? How is she going to fit in a room with some of these world leaders where we're negotiating for deals and better arrangements?
Well, she's untested. And look, this is going to be a close election. It's going to be incredibly close. The vice president could win this race. Depends on about 5 or 6 states. But she's totally untested. Nobody knows what kind of president she will be. All we have is her experience when she ran for president, her experience in the Senate. She had the most liberal, I call it neo-socialist voting record of any senator. And we know that what she's done or not done is vice president. But they're running a basement campaign. They will not let her do press conferences. Wherever she goes, she has a teleprompter. Somebody writes her remarks for her. They can do that because the corporate media is allowing her to do that.
And it worked for Biden.
Pressing her for answers. I'm sorry?
It worked for Biden 4 years ago.
It did, but this is even more egregious. President Biden had an excuse, COVID and all that. She has no excuse, but the corporate media is letting her get away with it.
Right.
And there will be debates, but you never know how many people will watch. If this election is decided purely on the basis of policy, then I think President Trump will win. But people don't always vote on the basis of policy.
Sean Hannity had a great point. Trump needs to just run ads with Kamala in her own words, and Walz too, as a matter of fact. He doesn't need to bash her personally. He needs to talk policy because, like you say, he wins on policy.
Well, the vice president's record, such as it is, I mean, it is what it is. It's a very neo-socialist agenda. She believes that you should turn all your money and your freedom over to Washington because Washington knows best. She talks about freedom. She says you need to be free to make your health care decisions yourself. Well, how come she wants to abolish private health insurance for 180 million Americans?
Yeah.
She doesn't want to talk about that anymore. But she's clearly on record. She ran for president on getting rid of private health insurance and letting government be your insurer. We'll see. The election will heat up in September, and the American people will have a decision.
Yeah.
To me, it's an easy decision.
Talk to anybody that's lived through socialized medicine.
Between Trump and Harris, it's a choice between hope and more hurt. Because I know what I'm going to get under the vice president.
Senator John Kennedy, thank you for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Mm-hmm. Have a great morning. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
All right. Well, you can tell it's moved into my chest.
Oh, goodness.
Yay.
Oh, man.
I got so many texts yesterday, Aaron, about the Navage.
Oh, that you should try it?
And
Mm-hmm.
And the people that get, are like, it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Gotta try it.
And I've had one sitting up in my cabinet for
did you try
6 months or longer that I almost drowned the first time I used it when I first got it. And I'm like, oh, my gosh. And so I tried again yesterday. It was better.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it was great yet, but I can see, yeah.
It gave you some relief?
Yeah.
Well, good.
It's pretty incredible.
That is awesome.
So
Now, are you feeling bad, or are you just kind of snuffly?
Yeah. No, it's just that stupid. And another buddy texted me. Apparently, the pollen count is very high right now for like ragweed and crab.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Who knew?
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.
I need to knock on whatever this is, because I've never had a big problem with pollen or ragweed or any of that stuff. So I'm lucky. One of the lucky ones.
You are. I hope you realize that.
I know.
And if you don't get motion sickness, you're very lucky.
Don't get motion sickness. Never had to take anything on a cruise or on a deep sea fishing boat. Don't have to take anything. Never had an issue. No
I
tummy.
envy that.
I know. And I thought, I was ready when I went on my first cruise. I was like, let me just take some of this stuff just in case. Because my friends are like, you got to be ready. Get the bracelets. And I'm like, okay, I'll be ready.
Bracelets.
Didn't need a thing.
No.
Didn't need a thing. I was completely fine. So, yeah, I'm going to cruise again. I was like, if it's not a problem for me, I love that. I love the idea of a cruise. Do whatever you want whenever you want. And you got a casino on here too? Okay, sign me up. I'm good. I love that.
Senator Cassidy going to be joining us later this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Some pretty exciting news with Social Security and broadband internet across the state.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk with him coming up. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710keel.com.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
Okay, I've got a question. I came across the story, and I always want to reference Ruben as those kids. Let me see what those kids are thinking.
Wacky kids, yeah.
Those crazy kids.
And I'm pushing 40, so.
No, you got a ways. You're mid-30s. Come on. It's like saying I'm pushing 70. Not really. Not yet.
No.
I mean, I'm pushing it with a really huge boulder. Okay. I don't like, I've just gotten to, I don't know. Don't come to my front door at the house.
Wow.
Don't come to my front door.
I'm with you.
No.
I'm so with you.
I just, if I hear,
no.
it pisses me off.
Don't.
That's so irrational.
Isn't that terrible? That's terrible. That's not
I'm like,
neighborly. That's
who
not.
the hell is what? Why?
What do you want? Go away.
Aaron, that's crazy.
I'm the same.
Half the time I'm in my underwear. I was vacuuming one time. I was at the house by myself in my underwear, okay, in a T-shirt. And, I never go without a shirt because nobody, not even the missus. And I'm vacuuming, and I look up, and there's one of our friends. Actually, technically one of my wife's friends.
Oh, my. Yow.
She goes, hi. Well, hello. Not that it matters now. Let me go put some shorts on.
Yeah.
Wow.
But okay, so what about phone calls? Do you answer your phone? You answer your phone.
Yeah, if I don't recognize the number, then no, I don't.
Me either.
I don't either. I don't
Never.
even. And in fact, I had my phone set to where if I didn't have the number in my phone, it wouldn't even ring. Mm-hmm. And then I was missing a call from.
Yeah.
I had a doctor's office or something.
Right,
and I was like,
right.
we can't get in touch with you. I'm like, well, crap.
I got a call yesterday from the sheriff in Red River Parish, and I didn't recognize the number. And I was looking at it, and I'm like, I'm not going to answer. But then I realized, it's Kashada. I was working on something, so I thought, let me answer
But
it.
see,
Yeah.
you use your phone.
I do.
You use your phone.
I do.
I try not to.
I use it all the time.
But 23% of people under 35 never answer their phone. They're not going to answer their phone. If you don't text them,
They're not answering.
they're not answering.
I bet if I called Chica right now, she wouldn't answer.
She's on the air.
Well, I'd have to text her. But even if she's in the hallway and I called her.
I bet she would answer knowing it was you.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But if we called her from a weird number,
No.
she's not answering.
I'm not either. I'm not either.
Never in a million years. I'm not either. I'm hitting the little.
Now, remember as a
red
kid,
button.
you'd run to the phone.
Oh, gosh.
When the phone rang, which was on the wall.
Right.
Corded. And
You had to run to it?
And you ran to the phone.
Oh, that doesn't happen anymore.
But they say there's only a few reasons for a phone call. Mm-hmm. Obviously, to inform of a death.
Right.
That would be, you don't want to get that over a text.
No, you don't.
Like a hotel reservation or something, they say you need to make a call for that.
Okay.
You need to make a call. Show support if somebody's going through a tough time.
Yeah, I like phone calls with your friends just to talk.
And that was another one for a general chat.
Mm-hmm. We don't do that anymore.
No.
We just don't do that anymore.
Although I will call a buddy, my buddy, and go, dude, checking in because they're going through some stuff.
Right,
so,
exactly.
But I just thought, and so do you talk? You don't talk on the phone. I don't see you.
Very rarely. Really only
Just
only to
talking
my
on the phone.
Really only to my wife. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's because
that's to get stuff done.
Well, yeah, and we both work
you
weird
don't call
hours.
and go, what are you doing?
No.
I miss you.
No, we work weird hours, so like right after the show, most of the time is the only maybe hour we get to talk before she has to go to bed.
Wow. Okay.
So
interesting.
I just thought that was fascinating.
Yeah, that is.
And I'm kind of with the kids on this one.
Can we get our popcorn and cotton candy out and go back to Bossier when we come back?
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's an all new charter commission.
Oh yeah.
101.7 FM 710 KEEL.
Now more breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Let me get the theme song going.
I think we might be in better shape. I think we might be. Bossier Charter Commission held a meeting yesterday. Their sole purpose was to add new members to the panel, which they added 4, Mike Lombardino, Jeff Lee, Paul Peak, and Debbie Martin. They also put in place some rules on decorum. Here's how we're going to act. It's a good thing.
I'm sorry, that made me
laughing
laugh.
so loud.
That's funny.
They've set a workshop for September 5th, then a formal meeting on September 9th. Now, we don't know, are they going to start from scratch? Or are they going to pick up where they left off and just, bring the new members up to speed? Or and here's what somebody got up and told them yesterday, and I think this was brilliant. You guys forget about term limits. Let this term limits issue be settled by the courts. Let the city council didn't put it on the ballot. Now they're being sued to force them to put it on the ballot.
Right.
Let that issue take center stage over there. You guys forget about term limits, and then you can get to the business of fixing the charter. Going step by step through the charter and fixing what needs to be fixed.
So, do we know what issues? There was a reason this commission was convened to begin with.
Those at-large council seats is one. There are several other things about the powers of the mayor and the powers of the city council they're looking at. They're looking at some other little things with regard to, I believe, zoning and those kinds of things. But they're just going to go through it step by step and see if they see anything that's glaring that we need to look at because of the growth of population in Bossier. So there are a bunch of things they're going to be working on. And they had gotten to work on some of them, but they have a lot more to do. And they got so distracted, sidetracked.
So did council members appoint these new charter members? How did this come about?
It sounds like the existing charter commission members picked these members. I may be wrong. Somebody shoot me a text. But it sounds like the ones on the panel.
But if that's the case, then the charter members who were appointed by those who want term limits were the ones that were left. So if they appointed more, sympathetic new members, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
it doesn't seem like it would be a balanced.
Well, the ones who want term limits are the ones who quit. I mean, Shane Cheatham quit. You had Preston Friedley quit. I can't give you all that.
Right, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So the ones who are opposed to term limits are the ones that are now appointing more charter members?
I don't know if that's how it went. I don't know how that. Somebody let me know how that went. whether or not it was a list of names given to him by the mayor or given to him by the council. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe these were the only folks that volunteered. I'm not sure how it went. But, we could reach out to, some of these I know. We could reach out to them and go, hey, how were you appointed? What was the process? Do you already is your mind already made up on term limits? Do you expect y'all will go into that? I mean, some of them will probably text me. We'll see what happens.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Okay, I can't even fathom this. Okay?
Okay.
OJ passed away.
Yes.
And he was cremated. Mm-hmm. Okay. Apparently, his cremated remains have been turned into jewelry.
Okay.
Have you heard this?
Oh, yeah. Well, I know they do that. I know they do it. Yeah, they might make little crosses, and you'll have some of the.
What, out of ash? How do you make jewelry out of ash?
You melt it down in the gold, and it's part of the piece of jewelry. Some people have lockets, and they put some of the ashes in the locket.
Yeah, you can have it like crushed into like a shiny stone too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
like compressed, like charcoal or something into a diamond.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's something wrong with that.
It's a big deal. People want to keep them forever with them rather than in a jar on the mantle,
Or just spread them out in the woods.
Where they loved being. Yeah, I don't know. It's a big thing now.
Well, it's not. I don't think they're going to try and sell it.
Now that would be sick.
That would be messed up. Yeah,
but the lawyer says it's being distributed among his 4 children.
Well, yeah.
Two of them were Nicole's, and then he had 2 from a previous wife, Marguerite.
And that's fine if they want to wear jewelry that has some of their dad, immersed into it. I understand that completely. Now, if the children start to sell them,
would you?
Yes.
Okay, so am I the only one creeped out by this?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Really?
It's pretty popular. They even do it with like dog ashes.
Okay, I'm telling my children right now, do not do this with me. No.
Don't make jewelry out of you?
They originally, my wife and I both agreed we're going to be cremated. Mm-hmm. Okay? They just don't spend money on a plot.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with those that do. My sister's like, but what if I want to come visit you? I'm like, sure. I'm not there.
Right.
But if it gives them comfort, okay. I'm not discounting that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, me and Lauren had the death talk a while back. And my whole thing is, I'm dead. I don't care. Whatever makes you feel better. Throw me in a dumpster for all I care.
Well, I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
My kids were like, well, part of me is going down by the Superdome. So it hasn't been cleared by any of Superdome officials.
You have your places picked out?
Apparently.
Where you're going?
And my wife is that they're going to take her to her grandmother's land where she loved her grandmother.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Keachai.
Nice.
And so, but now I don't know if I want the Superdome or if I want the F1 track in Austin. Make my daughter take a trip down to Austin.
Yeah,
we had a great weekend.
Oh, yeah. Well, you could
But don't make jewelry out of me.
No jewelry out of Martindale. Okay.
Are you kidding?
All right.
So you guys are okay with that?
I have no problem with it. If that's what my kids want to do with my 18 pounds of ashes, go ahead.
I mean, culturally, I mean, that's not even close to the weirdest thing some people do with their dead loved ones.
Absolutely.
That's not even close.
Yeah.
I guess. Okay. Well, no. Still, no. Just no. I'll make jewelry out of me.
All right. Note to self, no jewelry out of Martindale's remains.
That would be costume. Yeah. Bill Cassidy, Senator, going to be joining us coming up next hour. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. 1017 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty. I'm checking this 10-day forecast on weather.com. Looks like we're no more triple digits.
Are we done with triple digits, Richard Llewellyn?
Richard Llewellyn on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline. Richard, good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, I think we're getting to the point now where we're almost done with triple-digit heat. I think today will probably be the hottest day coming up here of the next 2 weeks. The way things are looking right now, it looks like we'll see temperatures flirt with 100 degrees today. But there's a huge heat wave across the central part of the country that's going to stick around for another day or two. And then the big changes as a big trough starts to carve itself out across the western U.S. It's going to bring some of the first snows of the season to Montana tomorrow, and we are going to see that cooler air eventually expand across the country, and we will start to feel some of the effects with increasing rain chances for us as we move into the holiday weekend. Unfortunately, it's coming up for the holiday weekend, but we could really use some rain.
So we're getting snow this weekend.
That's not what he said.
Yeah.
I thought he said
I wish I could say that for the Arklatex, but no.
We are getting into the 80s, though.
Yeah, the 80s are coming. In fact, they're going to start to show up here probably as early as maybe Monday, Labor Day, as we'll see temperatures then in the mid-80s for Labor Day, and a pretty good chance that we're going to get wet with showers and thunderstorms. There is a weakness down in the Gulf of Mexico that we're keeping our eyes on that may give us an enhanced chance for showers and thunderstorms. But we also have to keep an eye on it because there's that potential as we get, right to the meat and potatoes of hurricane season that we have to keep our eyes for tropical development. And there's a small chance that we could start to see some type of tropical development either in the Gulf of Mexico over the holiday weekend. And I think for sure next week, especially out in the central Atlantic, as we're going to really start to see the tropical chances really start to come up in the weeks ahead.
Drought conditions, how bad is it? It's been how long since we've had any measurable rain?
We had rain on the 19th, which was just 9/10 of an inch of rain. Let me rephrase that. A 1/10 of an inch of rain we had on the 19th. We had 1.22 inches on July 26th. The drought monitor came out. Right now, the Arklatex is not in a drought, but there is something that is on the horizon for us, which is called a rapid onset drought, which basically means there's really not a whole lot in the way of significant precipitation for the Arklatex coming up in the next 2 to 4 weeks. And just due to the fact it's been so dry here as of late, we could see the onset of a rapid drought for much of the Arklatex working into the mid-Mississippi River Valley as we make our way out through the next 2 to 4 weeks. So it looks like if you are, keeping an eye on crops or anything that basically is, tied to farming, we're going to have to really keep our eyes on this potential for a flash drought because it could really put some stress on some crops and plants out there.
Explain what a rapid drought is. What does that mean?
Well, a rapid onset drought, basically what it means is there's existing dryness. The temperatures and precipitation outlooks are basically just not showing a whole lot in the way of precipitation coming up in the next 2 to 4 weeks. So, this gives, farmers and decision makers an opportunity to start to plan whether or not they need to irrigate their plants or begin to start to take the measures needed to get a little bit more moisture in the ground. Of course, this is still growing season for a lot of folks, especially with cotton and soybeans, so they really have to keep an eye on that and whether or not they're going to have to irrigate their plants or not. So, the Weather Service kind of gives you a heads up on exactly when they think that there could be the potential for an ongoing drought here in the next couple of weeks. And it looks like a large area from North Texas to Alabama and then northward into western Ohio and Indiana, right across the center part of the country is going to be looking at that potential.
Richard, let me ask you this. This maybe sounds stupid to you, but I open my door to go walk out to my car, or I get out of my car to go into some place. And the moment I get out into this air, it feels like I'm getting punched right in the face. It just feels like this humidity and heat is worse than it's ever been. Like I don't know. Am I wrong, or is it just me aging?
We're just getting old, yeah.
Feeling it worse? What's going on with that?
Well, we're seeing, more in the way of moisture that's basically being shifted further north, as climate change, is an ongoing concern. We're seeing, the effects of, more moisture being worked northward, further north into northern Louisiana, central Mississippi. The summers are just it seems like summertime is just getting worse across parts of Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, working on into the Mid-South. And we're starting to see more of that Gulf moisture influence that's just continuing to feed further north. Over the last 30 years, we've seen a lot of the growing zones shift further north. Some places they've shifted as much as 40 to 50 miles further north than what they were 30 years ago. So summers are getting worse, and the humidity is there. And it's just, think of it like this. Think of Shreveport being picked up and moved to Alexandria. That's basically what it feels like now. So, if you basically do kind of look at it in that aspect, we can definitely see that the effects of Gulf moisture is just getting worked further and further north every summer, and it's just going to get worse and worse.
When you say summers are getting worse, isn't that a cyclical process, though?
It is,
and it'll come around the other way.
And it'll come around the other way, and that's the thing about it. That's the problem that, we as forecasters have, is the fact that, we're trying to pin down exactly, how bad is this going to be? What's it going to be? What is the future hold? What is it going to be like, 30 years from now? That's the big question that we're trying to figure out, as we look at the data, things are a lot different than what, I'm 53 years old. A lot of things have changed, in the last 30, 40, 50 years in the way, that these summers and the way weather patterns have just kind of shifted. There's subtle changes, but there's still changes. And, we see those effects, coming up year after year after year. It seems like summers are hotter. There's more rain, a lot more, when it rains, it seems like it pours. We just deal with different types of aspects of climate, that is just, we're still trying to figure out.
Richard, one more thing before we let you go. The temperatures on Monday, with the rain coming and falling into the 80s, we know around here we have a fake fall. Is this our fake fall that we're going to see Monday, or it's not even going to feel like fake fall yet?
Yeah, this is definitely looking like false fall, because I think we'll be back in the 90s after Labor Day. And of course, after we get there, it's September, we have to really start just focusing in on, what's the next big thing that's going to happen? Is it going to be tropical, or is it going to be something that's going to come down out of the northern and central plains that eventually will bring an end to the summer heat for good? But I think that's still, October, November before that's going to happen.
Okay.
I can remember many Halloweens sweating my behind off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, the overall trend is pointing that it's going to be a very busy, a very active back end hurricane season. So September, October, and November, get ready. We're off to the races in just a few days from now.
Richard Llewellyn with the Weather Channel. Richard, thanks for your time. We appreciate your input, sir.
Thank you, guys.
Senator Bill Cassidy going to be joining us here in about 20 minutes from right now, talking about broadband across the state and Social Security. Maybe some good news. We'll find out. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Tim Fletcher's got sports next.
Back Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Hey. Wait, what? Talking earlier about OJ's ashes. Mm-hmm. He was cremated, and his ashes have been formed into jewelry. It doesn't say what kind.
Okay.
On this report, and I'm just like, no, it creeped me out, but apparently you guys were fine with it.
It's pretty common.
Really?
Yes.
And it's been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not new.
Okay. Well, it creeps me out. And I said, my kid, do not do this with me. Because my wife and I have already, we're going to be cremated. Mm-hmm. That's already agreed upon.
What if your wife passes before you and wouldn't it be nice to have a locket or crucifix you could wear that has part of your wife's ashes in it?
She's already been an albatross around my neck.
Whoa! Oh, wow.
I only said that for Aaron's benefit. Of course,
man.
I'm kidding.
Text Dina Martindale. Tell her what her husband just said.
No, she knows I'm kidding. It's actually the other way around. She wouldn't want to make jewelry. She would say,
man.
He's already been hanging around my neck for too many years.
I'll tee that one up for you.
Yeah, so apparently that's a thing. But we got some messages on the message board. Thanks. Linda says, your ashes can be made into a gem, much like a diamond. I like that idea.
Pretty cool.
But then somebody said, make Mike a rock used to prop open gender-neutral bathrooms when they're being cleaned.
Whoa, wow. Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Rough crowd.
Wow. No, thank you.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
Yeah, don't make me into any jewelry or anything. Nobody wants that.
Man.
So I just thought that was, and it's more disturbing to me that you guys aren't disturbed by it.
No. A lot of people have been getting it with their puppies. You can make your puppy's ashes into some things that you can keep with you forever. A lot of different things are done.
I have to say, I do have, like my Opie, my basset hound. Mm-hmm. He's on a shelf in the living room.
Okay.
But it's like a velvet. He's in a box now in a velvet bag.
Okay.
We have a cat. Yeah, we have a cat in the world.
Yeah, and I've got a cat, and then another of our Lola.
One thing I've, since we're on morbid subjects, one thing I've been noticing gaining popularity is a lot. I don't know if they have them around here, but a lot of national parks are setting aside land for natural burials where they just put you in a sackcloth. You're not embalmed or anything, and they just put you in the ground and maybe plant a tree over you.
Oh, you're not even cremated?
No, there's no.
Ashes to ashes, baby. And dust to dust.
They don't leave a headstone, nothing like that. And it's just land where you can be.
I mean, why would you want to embalm?
Return to the earth.
Seriously, let the.
I'm thinking about the odor is what I'm thinking about.
Well, people aren't hanging out there.
And you're not going to dig it up. There's no odor.
Well, wild animals might.
Not if you go.
I think it's fenced off. I'm pretty sure it's a fenced off area to keep burrowing animals away.
Okay, we hope so.
People are going. They're going through the drive-thru at McDonald's, going, seriously?
Can y'all stop this? Yeah.
The dead body odor. I'm about to eat my eggs.
Edit all this out, Ruben, please. Yeah.
Yeah, and Senator Cassidy's going, I'm not coming on now.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We're going to talk about broadband internet for the state and Social Security changes, hopefully. Hopefully some good news. We'll find out. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Let's get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Did you hear about the ride at Six Flags Mexico?
No.
It got stranded and left people. Oh. Yeah, it was one of those swings, that goes around.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently and it's in the middle of a storm. They must have different safety regulations in Mexico.
Oh, my gosh.
But it's all like 250 feet up. But I read this and I was like, a buddy of mine and I went to Dallas one year. This is in the 70s. And it was the Texas Jam weekend. Mm-hmm. And we went to Six Flags the first day or whatever. I don't know. But we rode the, oh my gosh, what was the roller coaster that had the loop? It was one of the first ones that had the loop.
Ooh, they had the Mr. Freeze?
It wasn't the Texas. No. This was a long
time ago. Okay.
Judge Roy Scream?
No. It was the one. It was near the interstate. Oh, I can't believe I forgot. Because when we were on it, and it was just getting dark, and you're going up the first incline on the chain, click, 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 click,
wow.
click, 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 and the first few cars had crested the apex, and it chain jammed, and the whole train started like.
Oh gosh, I would freak out.
Well, we were in the last car. And I'm turned around and look back, and I thought, oh, my gosh, because the next car was already up in the loading zone.
Oh, no.
So if we were to... So it had shockwave.
Okay,
The
yes,
shockwave.
yes.
I don't think it's even there anymore. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I don't know. I haven't been to Six Flags in so long.
Oh, gosh.
But Aaron, we had to climb off.
Wow.
We had to get down. Fortunately... It was still on they have a kind of a catwalk there because it was on the chain going up.
Man, that's frightening. That's frightening.
Flash bulbs going all over. And we were, 18, 17, I don't know. It was the coolest thing ever for us. It was awesome. And we get down to the bottom and the girl goes, do y'all want to get back in line and go back?
That's crazy. Wow.
That's what I thought of when I thought these people have a little story to tell.
Yeah, no kidding.
Six Flags Mexico. That's Supergirl Skyflight or Sky Screamer at some parks.
Scary.
So,
Scary.
Yeah, a lot of fun. Senator Bill Cassidy joining us coming up after the break. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL.com.
Breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
And on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, Senator Bill Cassidy joining us this morning. Senator, good morning. Thanks for taking time to talk with us.
Hey, good morning to you both. Good morning, Shreveport, Bossier.
Thanks. Tell us about this Gumbo broadband that is going to be providing internet service to rural areas. And why is this important? Why should the rest of us care?
Yeah. So Governor Landry and I made an announcement several days ago, $1.35 billion coming to Louisiana for making sure that everyone has access to high-speed, affordable internet. And you ask, why should we care? I met a guy in Livingston Parish, lives in Baptist, Louisiana. And his website is Southern Boys, B-O-Y-Z, SouthernBoysOutdoors.com. I said B-O-Y-Z is I expected kind of a rapper. But no, he's just a good old boy wearing a baseball cap. He's got 2.7 million Facebook followers. He'll do a viral video showing you in 3 minutes how to cook crawfish. And he does this in lots of things. And he sells more jambalaya mix online on Amazon than any other company, including companies like Zatarans. So a guy living in Baptist, Louisiana, which probably none of our listeners have heard of, has got 2.7 million followers and an incredibly booming business out of Baptist, Louisiana. He does that because of the internet. He shoots the videos on his iPhone, posts them, boom, there he goes. Now, that's open to other people. That unlocks potential in Louisiana for folks, no matter where you live, to be able to succeed, not just on doing things on social media, but to farm better, for example, to make your farm more productive, to have a distribution center in a small town, but which is centrally located. All sorts of things. It is good for our state by being good for individuals.
I want to talk to you about the windfall elimination provision for Social Security. You know, I'm watching this carefully. Explain if this is eliminated, what it will do. You're trying to save Social Security is the ultimate goal, right?
Yeah. So, and we've talked about this before. Social Security is going insolvent in about 7 years. When that happens, people's benefits on social, or if you'll ever be on Social Security, is going to be cut by 20%. By 20%. Now, to fix that problem, over 75 years, cost $615 trillion. That's trillion with a T, including borrowing costs if we just decide to borrow the money to pay people instead of cutting their benefits. Now, weapon GPO in the state of Louisiana, state and local workers don't pay into Social Security. So they should get a little bit of a ding on their social. They get a big ding. Under Clinton and President Clinton, Newt Gingrich, they put in a system which way over penalizes workers in Louisiana. We fix Social Security, and along the way, we repeal weapon GPO. Now, weapon GPO costs $7 trillion to fix. That's a lot of money. But when you add it to $615 trillion, it's a rounding error. So we come up with a system that will fix both, fix social, make sure it doesn't go insolvent, frankly, do some things to make it a little bit of a better program. And along the way, we repeal the rounding error, the $7 trillion rounding error called weapon GPO. Biden didn't want to do it. Biden just put a nail in the coffin. But whoever the next president is, we think we can pass it next Congress.
But if Biden is reelected, and not Biden, but if Harris is elected, then this is going to be dead again?
Well, first, if Harris is reelected, God save the country. But anyway, aside from that.
More than that will be dead.
Well, so Biden decided to run for reelection, attacking Republicans on Social Security. And we actually had a deal with Democratic lawmakers. They were going to support it. I'd worked hard to make sure that we could get all the support we needed. We presented it 4 times to the Biden White House, but then he comes out and starts attacking Republicans on social. And my Democratic colleague said the deal's off. He won't sign it into law. So we're putting the gang back together. Now, I just got to keep working. I don't know if the next president will sign it. All I know is if I keep working hard and present the opportunity to the next president, I have to hope the next president will play ball with us. If so, we can repeal weapon GPO, we can fix Social Security, and also improve some of the social benefits along the way.
One of the things that I know troubles us, the border security is a problem, and providing benefits to those immigrants who are coming into our country, like Medicaid to illegal immigrants. Is that actually happening?
In California, they're providing free medical services to, like Medicaid, to those coming here illegally. I did my medical residency in Los Angeles, and we would get a note from a doctor in Mexico, take care of this patient. She's got this heart problem. Now, I'm a doctor. You put a patient in front of me, I don't care who the patient is, I'm going to treat the patient. But if you're talking about public policy, it becomes a magnet to provide free health care to people coming here illegally. And so I've got a piece of legislation that would forbid any federal dollars going towards providing Medicaid for those who come here illegally. It's just bad public policy. Aside from the fact that the taxpayers didn't sign up for that, it also tends to attract more people. And right now we need to control the southern border, not attract more people.
Well, the vice president was in charge of the border, and she's done a great job, hasn't she?
Yeah, the Tsarina. No, it turns out she wasn't the czar after all, right?
Yeah.
It turns out she was for fracking before she was against fracking. And she was tough on crime before she was defunding the police. Mm-hmm. But now she's tough on crime again. So I don't quite know where we are with Kamala, except that she's a flipper and a flopper and a flopper and a flipper.
I don't understand how people cannot see the border situation for what it is. We cannot sustain millions of people coming into this country and then giving them everything, housing and food and education and health care and phones. Where's that money coming from? How long is that well going to last?
Yeah, it comes from the taxpayers ultimately.
Well, exactly.
But Mike, part of their strategy is congressional reapportionment. A lot of those folks coming here will move to cities, and cities are, and when you do an apportionment for, population survey, the reason that, for example, one of the reasons that Texas has picked up like 4 members of Congress in the last decade is that a lot of folks have come to Texas illegally, but they count towards their population. And they tend to move to cities, and cities tend to be Democratic. And so I hate to be cynical, but I think what the Biden administration has done is they said, okay, we've got 10 million people here. They're going to move to cities. They're going to be counted as part of the apportionment for congressional seats, and we're going to end up with more Democratic members of Congress than we otherwise would. I think that's been part of their strategy. Now that it's an election issue, they've done their best to shut down the border. Congress has given them a lot of tools. And frankly, they're beginning to shut down the border. But they're doing it because voters are upset about it and they want Kamala to win. You hate to see what happens afterwards because you think she'll flip and flop and go back to an open border.
Well, absolutely. I don't believe a word she says. Of course, you got to take it all with a grain of salt. Senator, thank you for your time. We know you've got a tight schedule. We appreciate you squeezing us in.
Okay, thank you both.
Thanks.
101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Mike and McCarty.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 Keel.
.17 FM, 710 Keel. I'm feeling better.
Are you?
Do I sound any better?
You do sound a little bit better. Yeah, you do. You have a little cough every now and then.
I heard the Navage commercial. Made me laugh.
That's a good thing. I am going crazy again. Tonight's the night. The Powerball jackpot is up to 585 million. Powerball. It's Mega Millions, excuse me. 75 million. And the cash prize
not
is
85?
No, 575.
Oh, then I'm not fooling with
And then the lump sum payout is 285 million. The drawing is tonight. That's when Mega Millions does their drawing on Tuesdays and Fridays, I think. And I've already done some shopping. And I've already been bothering.
Do you have real estate agents in Florida working for you?
Not quite. I'm filling out some forms, and
That makes me laugh.
I'm putting you have email addresses that are like
for
crap.
Yeah.
That's
right.
the email address I put.
Okay.
And so I am giving them that email address, and so I probably got a bunch of emails in that folder from all these agents. But I feel crazy doing it. When I'm looking at the properties, it is one of those things while I'm doing it, I'm like, I feel silly. But then it's kind of a fun fantasy thing. I'm like, this is fun to go look at all these beautiful
It's kind of like a hobby.
Yes.
Right.
It's a crazy hobby. And so I've been having fun doing it. But that would be the first thing I buy. I'd buy some sort of condominium on the beach.
Nope, that's not the first thing you buy. I know the first thing you buy.
Oh, new cell phone.
That's it.
Yeah, new cell phone.
A new cell phone with a new number.
Yeah.
And very, very few people are going to have it.
How many people would you transfer over? I mean, would you transfer them all over and then go delete just so you don't miss somebody,
Yeah,
I think I would.
Yeah.
I'd send everybody, I'd tell them, here, send all my contacts through, and then I'd go in and delete who I don't want in it anymore. And that'd be a lot of people. No offense, anyone listening, but it'd be a lot of people that wouldn't have that new number. And
Ruben, if she won that, I think we'd be on that delete list. Maybe, quite frankly.
I wouldn't have too many people on that phone number. I really wouldn't. It'd be very, very private.
Right.
It'd be very, very secret number. And, I would I have my list of people that are going to get $1 million. And right now you're on the list, but you hover.
I'm on and off depending on the day. I like the idea too that you say you're going to set up a corporation or something, a trust or whatever, and then claim it in the name of that trust. Can you do that though?
Yeah, and it won't be. I think you can, and it won't be my face. No one will ever see my face.
Exactly. I wouldn't want my name out there.
It'll be one of my lawyers, or it'll be one of my children's. My children won't want to be the face either. I'm certain of that. So it would be a lawyer, somebody that's going to get a cut of it. You go be the face, you go pick up the check, do whatever you have to do. And then the trust would win the money, and the trust would dole it out how they wanted to. So that's how I would handle it. I just get too excited. I don't know that I could come in here the next day and literally work without saying anything. Because I wouldn't have my ducks in a row yet, and I wouldn't want to.
Well, yeah, but you wouldn't. It's not like you're going to be. I don't know. I know,
but here's my feeling. If I win it tonight, I would feel bad leaving Reuben and you in a lurch.
Well, thank you, and we appreciate that.
I would really feel bad. Definitely.
Clarence Reese Jr. joining us coming up after the news, top of the hour. Mike and McCarty, 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. .101.7 FM, 710 KEEL. Mike and McCarty on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline this morning. Shreveport Fire Chief Clarence Reese Jr. Chief, I wish we were speaking with you on better conditions, but there's been a tragedy within the Shreveport Fire Department. What can you tell us? I know you have to be careful on details, but what can you tell us, and what can we as the public do?
All right, so I thank y'all for having me on this morning, and on behalf of the Shreveport Fire Department and the Captain Jake Shaver's family, we want to tell all citizens thank you. Y'all have reached out, y'all have been praying, been donating. I've seen the GoFundMe, been donating to that, calling about meals, and so I have to really say thank you to our citizens for reaching out to us. I've had fire departments from all over reach out, text messages, and have made calls. So we really appreciate that. Of course, Captain Jake Shaver saw the news, of course, come out on yesterday after Red River released it. But our Captain Jake Shaver lost his 14-year-old daughter due to a tragic accident in the Red River Parish. He was immediately surrounded. He was at work when this happened. We go to work a lot of times, expecting to see our family when we get off. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. And it didn't happen for him. So
it's emotional for you. I can hear it. You're a dad. It's emotional for your entire department, and it's emotional for this entire community. We can help. We can wrap our arms around them, but there's just no way to describe this loss, is there?
Absolutely not. It's gut wrenching. We've had several firefighters that have lost kids, some while at work, some while at home. I can probably count about 5 of them in my 22-year career. Again, we're a big family, about 600 people. And then, of course, our extended family, our wives, kids, grandparents, aunts, and uncles. So Shreveport Fire Department touches a lot of households throughout Northwest Louisiana. We don't all just stay in Shreveport, of course, Bossier, Red River Parish, all the way down to Lincoln Parish. So we touch a lot of Northwest Louisiana, whether or not you know a fireman that's a neighbor, firefighter that's a neighbor. You know someone that is connected, especially to the Shreveport Fire Department. It's one of the largest agencies in the state of Louisiana.
Chief Clarence Reese Jr., you mentioned a GoFundMe page. If somebody is interested in helping, how would they reach out and help this family in a more tangible way? Of course, prayers are very important, but how would they do that?
Right. Of course, anytime anything takes place, tragedy, we kind of want to vet those GoFundMe pages. I saw y'all made a post about it. We'll make a post with that GoFundMe link to our Shreveport Fire Department Facebook page this morning. But if you could, that would be greatly appreciated. Our wives, Shreveport Fire Department spousal support group has stepped up tremendously in providing a meal train. We've had the owner of Partners Barbecue, who used to be a Shreveport fireman, reach out and provide meals to the family and guests of the family. Again, that the GoFundMe will help out. And keep in mind, the Shaver family has not asked for anything. We do this out of the goodness of our heart, just because it's one of our members.
Chief Reese, let me ask you this. I'm sure you've talked to the family. How are they dealing with this? I can't even imagine the trauma they're going through right now. How are they doing?
Right. When I left the hospital, I've texted them since then. But when I left the hospital on Saturday, they were doing pretty much as well as you expect someone to be able to be doing. Funny thing about Mr. Captain Shaver is everybody's like, man, he's acting the same way he would at the station or whatever. He's just very resilient captain. Of course, we know the Shaver family from the restaurant business, Shaver's Catering and the Pearl Restaurant. These are, this is that family, but they're doing as well as expected. And what makes a difference, in my opinion, are the people that surround them. Those that, they go out with, concerts and, just outings. Those are the people that have surrounded him, his crews that he's worked with over the years, and their wives. They've opened their arms and placed them around them.
And obviously the other children are impacted as well. They were injured. They're all doing okay, though, now?
Absolutely. It was released the next morning or yesterday. The other daughter was released. And, of course, probably having about the same hard time as everybody else in that family. I can't thank the school board enough. They reached out very early, as soon as they heard the news, to prepare counselors for the schools that these young women attended.
Mm-hmm. Chief Clarence Reese, thank you for your time. Please, the whole community will continue to pray. Give this family our love and our prayers for us, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Thank y'all so much.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Get back to the show with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
So first thing you told me this morning was there's basically a new Bossier Charter Commission. They added 4 new members. Is that right?
Yes. 4 new members have been added. They held a meeting yesterday to kind of outline some of their rules of decorum. They're going to move forward with some new rules of decorum.
Really?
Yeah.
I want to be part of that meeting.
Yeah,
I want to hear that.
Paul Peak, Jeff Lee, Mike Lombardino, and Debbie Martin have been named to the commission.
Did they play any of the previous meetings and go, don't do this?
Here's what we don't do. Yeah, exactly. They're going to have a workshop on September 5th to get these new members up to speed, which to me sounds like they're not going to start from scratch. If you're going to get these new members up to speed, here's what we've done so far.
Well, and we've had guests tell us they've done some good work.
They have.
Putting aside the term limits discussion, they've actually done work on several other issues facing Bossier City.
You bet. They're going to have a formal meeting, their first formal meeting with this new group, September 9th. Now, I know some of the commission members have reached out to these new folks and said, hey, can you serve? So I don't know that these names actually came from city council members or the mayor. I'm working to find out, did these new folks, were they?
See, that's my question. Because you have 2 camps. One that want term limits and one that are opposed to term limits.
Right.
And the ones that want term limits got frustrated and have left. So now you have those that are opposed to term limits remaining, and if they're the ones that appointed the new council, the new commission members, then it doesn't seem like it's going to be a bipartisan commission, if you will.
Well, the thing is, term limits may be out of the hands of this commission now. It really is, because now it's going to court. Now the city council is being sued, and the council is being told, you must put this on the ballot, and we're going to sue you to make you do it. And so this commission may not have to do any work on term limits. This may be up to the courts, and the council may have to put it on the ballot, and then it'll be up to the people. So this panel can kind of, put
focus
term limits
on the work.
put term limits on a back burner and get to work on the other things that are important. So I'm hopeful that they can kind of get a fresh start, and we don't need to, warm up the popcorn and the cotton candy any longer, and we can put the clown cars away, because it got to be a mess.
What about mixing cotton candy with popcorn?
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
Did I just invent something kind of awesome?
You might have. Don't we have a popcorn shop in town? You
Yeah,
need to call
we do.
them. You need to call them and tell them to invent it.
And they'll go, yeah, we have that.
They probably already do. They probably already do have that. But I'm very hopeful that they can get moving. Now, there's been talk about doing a charter commission review in Shreveport, Caddo Parish. There's been talk about it. We all need to review those every 10, 20 years and see what needs to be changed, what can be better, what needs to be in the charter, what needs to be taken out, to make our governments run better and be more efficient.
And there are things that age out, quite
Yes,
frankly.
exactly. The big thing in Bossier is that some people say that these at-large council members disenfranchise some voters, that they need to do away with the at-large members and draw districts that, for all the 7 members, rather than having 2 that serve the entire city. We'll see. Is that something they're going to work on and change and put before the voters? Because remember, any changes to the charter have to go to the voters. Now it has to go to the city council first and then to the voters. So, we know where the clown car is being driven.
It's supposed to go to the voters.
Yeah.
It hasn't made it that way so far.
Yeah. We're hoping that it will. And, we know what's going on with the council now. The delay tactics are simply to get it so it's not on the December ballot.
Right. So these can be reelected.
But Scott Hughes made a very valid point the last time he was here that, you can't make this retroactive, that would be tossed out of court. It would be termed unconstitutional because now you're removing somebody's right to run for office. Right now they have a right to run under the conditions they would qualify for. So, I don't know. It's a big mess. Right now, I think they're getting the train back on the track. We'll see who's conducting it and are they blindfolded or not.
So what's the timeline on the term limit decision? It's in court now, obviously, or
yes.
It's before the courts.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know a timeline when a judge is a judge going to decide? Is it?
Judge will issue a ruling. We should have that any minute now. It should be coming any day. The deadline for the council was, I believe, the 25th of August. So they missed that to get it on the ballot. So now they are facing an injunction in court. I'll have to check with my judges in Bossier and find out, what's the status of it. I don't know.
Can a judge then go, okay, we're ruling this is going on, so can they extend that deadline? And they say, well, it was the 25th, but this went into legal proceedings, so
we'll give the council another 10 days to act. I don't know. And to be quite blunt, I think the council is meeting today. It's not on the agenda, so it would be another month before, another at least 2 weeks before it could come back to them. I'm not sure what the judge will rule. I just think the council's kind of in a predicament right now. I think the court's going to rule against them. And I don't like the fact that if I were a Bossier resident, I'd be a little upset that we're spending money to defend this.
And the fact that it had to go to a court.
Yeah, exactly.
Because your councilmen didn't do their job.
Right. That's a big problem.
It's something I would take into account
I'm
coming up on Election Day.
No doubt about it.
Jessica Yates is the Caddo Parish School Board president, and they're having a special meeting today, as a matter of fact. We're going to talk to her about their ongoing search for a new superintendent. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
More breaking news and trending talk with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Caddo Parish School Board seeking a new superintendent. Jessica Yates, School Board president, joining us coming up just after the local news, talking about that search and the 6 candidates that they've narrowed it down to. 101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back to the big stories of the day with Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
Caddo Parish School Board has narrowed down their search for a new superintendent to 6 finalists. And we've got Jessica Yates, Caddo Parish School Board president, on the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker hotline. Jessica, good morning. Thanks for talking with us.
Good morning.
Tell us, what is the process? We've got 6 candidates left. What are you doing? What are you looking for?
Sure. Tonight, the board will hear from the firm on these candidates. There are pre-recorded video interviews that the firm has available. They will show us the videos and the videos during the meeting that starts at 3:30 tonight. After we go through all of the 6 candidate videos and their packets, we will then, as a board, vote to go into the next process of the interviews, which will require us to pick a set number of applicants to interview. we will do the interviews on September the 11th.
Do you anticipate narrowing the 6 to 4 to 3? Do we have an idea?
That's really up to the board, and the board, they will decide tonight. We have 6 applicants, so it could be anything from 6 to 2.
So if they all want to interview all 6, we could do that?
Potentially, yes, ma'am.
What are you hearing as president of the board of what this next leader has to have? What are some of the top priorities?
So, anybody that is good with any and all kids, that's our priority, is the students in Caddo Parish. No matter what race, what their sex is, what schools they go to, the next superintendent needs to be somebody that is able to do what's best for all of our students in Caddo Parish and all of our employees in Caddo Parish.
I know that the McPherson Company, they did the kind of the screening and presented the finalist list to you. Do we know how many total applied in total?
We do not. They will release that information tonight.
Okay, so we'll know, is there any chance you guys could add a name that didn't make their list back into the mix?
That's it's a yes and a no. We have a contract that's built in with McPherson and Jacobson. It could void out that contract. To add a name, you would need 7 votes no matter what, though.
I know you can't talk about specific candidates, but were you surprised that only one local made this finalist list?
I was, yes, ma'am.
You anticipated others would be applying or possibly did apply?
Yes, ma'am. And at this time, I don't know who all did apply other than these 6 that are on the list.
And the marching orders you gave to this company about their process of whittling them down to 6, do you feel like they followed that to the T?
We didn't give them a set number to bring us. We just asked them to bring us their top candidates, and they brought us 6, and they deemed to believe these are their 6 top candidates that I had. How many ever applied?
Now, as you look over this list of 6 candidates, are you pleased and think, okay, we've got a good candidate here, or we've got a good selection here, or do you wish there was something else, other options available?
I think all 6 candidates are great options, and we'll learn more information about them tonight.
What is the procedure after that? After you guys interview, how's it going to work? When will we have a new superintendent in the office on Midway?
We are set to hire a superintendent on October the 1st.
And they would start that quickly, or 2 weeks after that?
Probably within the next few weeks after that. There will be contract negotiations and everything else following that.
And they would hit the ground running. If you hire someone from out of town, how big a learning curve will that be to come in and learn Caddo Parish?
It'll be a huge adjustment. We went into this process looking for somebody who has been in a district that is comparable in size and budget as ours. So that will be a key thing that most of the board is looking for, to see that somebody's not trying to come to Caddo Parish with only working in a school district that only has 2 schools and a $3 million budget, when we are over a $500,000 budget.
Are you looking for somebody to say, I'm going to be here for X amount of time and hopefully not just a stepping stone moving forward?
That's really up to the board as a group, how long they want a new superintendent. I would think, you start out at the bottom of 4 years, 3-4 years, and then you go from there to see how they actually are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think all 6 of these contenders know what they're getting in for? I mean, Caddo Parish is not Duncanville, Texas. You follow me? There are challenges here. Do you think they're all well aware of that?
I can't promise they are, but I would hope if they applied for our district that they did their own research on our district to see what we have to offer. We have great opportunities here in Caddo Parish. we also have some things that we've got to get fixed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a definite potential for growth and opportunity here.
What is on your list, Jessica
absolutely.
Yates, of things that need to be fixed?
We've got failing schools. We've got to get them out of the failing schools status. There's, potential. We need to build a bigger career center. There's just different opportunities that need to be addressed, and I think that the board that we currently have can make those changes.
And for you, just as one board member, your top priority as you look at the candidates is going to be, we talked about the children, but what about dealing with the teachers and the staff? What's a priority for you with regard to that?
Yeah, you definitely have to have a superintendent that's willing to work with all staff members, no matter who they are, from custodian to principals to the directors. We've also got to have somebody that holds everybody accountable for their actions.
And lastly, before we let you go, once we get down to the final one or two and you're in negotiations, I assume there will be complete background checks. Those have not fully been done during this process yet, have they?
No, ma'am, and they will be done prior to, I think there would be done between this date and the September the 11th date.
Gotcha.
Jessica Yates, Caddo Parish School Board President, thank you. We appreciate your input, and we look forward to seeing how the process goes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
101.7 FM, 710 KEEL, Mike and McCarty.
Back with more of Mike and McCarty on 101.7 FM and 710 KEEL.
There are so many people that are lucky Mike Martindale is not God. With the power to zap immediately.
Y'all, I'm watching some sort of documentary. I don't know what it was on. I forget.
Yeah, you got to let me know because I want to see this.
It was folks going to Yellowstone to videotape and document all the people that go to places like Yellowstone to encounter wildlife. You see people going up to take selfies with black bears.
Morons. I see.
Bison. Yeah. And then they wonder when the bison turn on them and chase them.
And they're surprised.
And toss them in the air.
Wait, what? Is this not a petting zoo?
You see
what's that called, Ruben? Natural selection?
That's Darwin's Law.
Darwin's Law. Yeah, Darwin's, yeah.
You see this couple walking up to a bison, which is probably 1,000 pounds, and they're going to pet him.
See?
They're going to go pet him.
I have very, very little sympathy for idiots like this.
And then
you get what you deserve.
And then they run away astonished when he turns on them and starts chasing them.
And if you happen to be one of these idiots, if you happen to be one of these morons, bison, imagine those bulls you see bucking in the rodeo.
Yes.
And add a few 100 pounds.
Yeah.
Of just raw muscle. And as far as the black bears go, they're not like dogs. They have knives for hands.
Yes.
They will rip you to shreds.
This shows a moron. I wanted to punch this person in the head. Mama was in a tree with the babies, and she was walking.
Mama bear?
Mama bear.
Okay.
And she walked away from the babies for a minute, and this idiot picks up a bear cub.
Oh, shut up.
And wants to take a selfie with the bear cub.
Take my picture, Larry. Look,
Well,
I'm
Mama-
holding a wild bear cub.
Mama bear won't take that baby back now. Do we not understand? Did we not learn that when we were 6?
It's tainted with human scent now.
Now the mama bear, now this baby is essentially abandoned. You have just taken this baby bear. I was stunned by how stupid these people are.
So are these people just wandering around in the park? There's no supervision? Is there no...
They're tourists.
There's obviously a camera crew. Is there a camera crew watching them?
Well, this was the camera crew watching them from a safe distance. But you would see, he would go, oh, there's a traffic jam up here. You'd see cars all parked on the side of the road all of a sudden because there was a black bear sighting, and so everybody, they see the texts go out, all these messages, and so everybody gets up there because there's a bear out there, and everybody gets out and wants to take selfies of the bear.
And just so we're clear, this is nothing new. I saw one of those old Disney documentaries, and it was Yellowstone Park, and these people are hanging out of this old car feeding slices of bread to bears on the side of the road.
Oh, my God.
And the Disney documentary, the old documentary was almost encouraging people to do that, which is ridiculous.
And, I would say the same for in Louisiana. We don't need selfies of alligators.
No.
Don't walk over to an alligator to try to get a selfie.
Wait, no. Do come take selfies with alligators.
If you're that stupid.
I want to see,
Yeah, if you're
I want this footage,
do it.
idiot.
Yeah, do it. People are crazy. They're really nutty. It's unreal.
They're stupid.
Oh, gosh.
And they're lucky I'm not God.
Yeah.
101.7 FM, 710, KEEL, Mike and McCarty.